Why, hello everyone. Your Dark Lord of the Sith, Lord Voidus here. And, well, I'm here to bring you our second half of, and I know it's nearly been a month, my lord, time has flown by, since I did part 1 of this, and now we're going to be doing part 2, so reacting to the second half of every vault in the Fallout series. Other than that, there is one other update. I was supposed to have a video come out today as well, but unfortunately I kind of screwed up the recording, so I may reattempt it, but I'm not able to get back the footage, so I am going to be ahead a little bit in Battlefleet Gothic Armada 2, but it shouldn't be too far. So it won't be that egregious, but it will be noticeable enough. Other than that, I have my first live stream now at 3 o'clock. I hope to see you there. We're now going to be playing a new game for my live streaming series, and it is going to be Frostpunk. So I hope you are there, and I hope I see you there. So now that that's been all said and done, let's get on with the video.
Jack, southwest of Lewisburg, West Virginia, Vault 63 remains sealed.
Oh yeah, we stopped on Vault 63 the last year.
As it remains inaccessible to Fallout 76 players. However, this may change in a future update. Not much is known about Vault 69, as it's only featured in the previously mentioned Fallout comic titled One Man and a Crate of Puppets.
Wait,
All
what?
we know about Vault 69 is that it held 999 women and 1 man. Vault 75, located at Malden Middle School north of Boston, Massachusetts, conducted a social and medical experiment centered on a eugenics program to create the perfect soldiers from young children. When the bombs dropped, all the children's adult relatives would be executed, marking the beginning of the experiment. The kids were taught to fear the horrors of the outside world, and were trained to be fit, brave, and intelligent enough to venture out into the wastelands to help the remaining population above ground. Years later, when the children turned 18 and they graduated the program, the smart but weak kids would be made into scientists. The strong and smart were harvested for their organs, and the rest would simply be executed. Eventually, the vault was opened, and the remaining dwellers presumably headed out into the wasteland, abandoning the vault. By 2287, the vault is filled with gunners who repurposed it into one of their headquarters in the Commonwealth. Vault 76, a control vault located north of Flatwoods, West Virginia, was built to house 500 occupants and was scheduled to open 20 years after the Great War in order to rebuild and repopulate the wasteland on a special date known as Reclamation Day. The occupants included students from Vault-Tec University.
And so far, not going well, because we're having to deal with sports beasts and all the crazy shit.
Occupants were provided with fully furnished apartments, including a bedroom, living room, bathroom, and...
As I've started playing the Fallout 76 myself, I'm trying to start the Brotherhood plus game, but I'm not even at level 20 this month, so...
And the vault opened, to which they proceeded to head out into the wasteland with the goal of recolonizing the surrounding region of Appalachia. Vault 77 housed 1 man and a crate of puppets.
Wait,
Puppet Man, as he was known, would unknowingly enter the vault as its only residence and be locked inside. As he slowly went insane due to isolation, he became engrossed with the puppets, believing them to be real people and hallucinating interactions between them. One day, the Vault 77 housed 1 man and a crate of puppets. The Puppet Man...
So, he eventually just started going batshit crazy. With like a schizophrenia. Oh wait, what is this? Eventually, he just started going crazy with schizophrenia. They trying to make him different identities for each of their puppets. The mind will do crazy things, so it doesn't go insane.
Between them. One day, the man found the king puppet murdered, to which he then accused the Vault Boy puppet of being the culprit. To the man's surprise, the Vault Boy revealed to him that they were both the ones who killed the king. Scared of what might happen if the other puppets found out, the Vault Boy convinced the man that they needed to leave the vault, which they eventually did. During their travels, they would encounter a giant mutated scorpion, a ghoulified vault dweller, as well as a giant ant, which the man named Mr. Pinch. The pair would eventually be captured by some wastelanders who planned to either enslave the man or eat him. He warned his captors that his puppet was dangerous and that he had killed before in a plea to let them go. After they shrugged him off as simply being delusional.
Don't tell me the puppet is just gonna slaughter him with the puppet is gonna slaughter every single one of these dudes.
To lead him to the rest of his group. After the survivor had made it to the rest of his gang, he told them that the Puppet Man had murdered Bob, the other slaver. The men began to hear a noise as the Puppet Man got closer and closer to the gang. We then see in the final panel that the Puppet Man had murdered the gang with his bare hands, thus finalizing his descent into madness. In Fallout
So he
3,
did
if you
go
head to
batshit
Paradise
crazy
Falls,
in
a
the end.
settlement full of slavers, you can find a Vault 77 jumpsuit hidden alongside a holotape. This holotape contains a recording of one of the slavers ordering the listener to burn the jumpsuit out of fear that the Puppet Man may come looking for it. Vault 79, built in secret by Vault-Tec north of Dolly Sods Wilderness, West Virginia, was meant to house 120 high-ranking soldiers and government agents tasked with protecting the nation's gold reserves with the intent of rebuilding the economy after the Great War. The Vault's number was chosen due to the fact that 79 is the atomic number for gold.
Okay.
In July 2072, secrecy surrounding the Vault was compromised when soldiers guarding the site stole millions of dollars worth of gold and ventured to Las Vegas to gamble. Their actions led to a confrontation at the Ultralux Casino, resulting in a shootout with local police. Despite attempts to surrender, all those involved were executed. In 2077, when the bombs finally dropped, the vault was sealed, to which inhabitants awaited further instructions from the US government. However, at some point after the war, a mutiny led by a rogue Secret Service agent named Shorty resulted in a number of deaths among the vault's population. The
I'm tired.
survivors remained inside the vault, isolated and depressed, with at least 3 agents taking their own lives. On the surface, rumors of the vault's gold attracted treasure hunters, who hire your player character to help them commit a heist on Vault 79. Vault 81, built in Boston, Massachusetts, was intended to host...
Vault 79, is that the one where... Is that the one where he's on about treasure? Or is that a different vault? Or is that the Zach's computer? I'm trying to remember that. My brain's fried.
An experiment in which scientists would use the vault civilians as guinea pigs to develop a universal cure for disease. The vault was designed so that the scientists would be separated into a secret sector unbeknownst to the residents, where they could monitor and experiment on the population. When the vault closed, before the scientists could begin their experiments, they were betrayed by the overseer, who locked them inside the secret sector of the vault. The scientists would eventually perish, leaving only a single Mr. Handy named Curie. As for the residents of Vault 81, they would maintain a peaceful society. And as of 2287, the Vault continues to thrive, as it has managed to establish trade relations with the surface, continuously prolonging its residents' survival, unaware of the Vault's secret experiment. Vault 87, built in northeastern Virginia, was a research facility experimenting with the forced evolutionary virus, transforming its civilian population into super mutants, centaurs, and other mutated abominations. However, these super mutants escaped containment, and they seized control of the Vault only 1 year after it was closed. By 2277, the Vault is overrun with super mutants. However, one of these mutants, named Fox, managed to retain his intelligence, and if you manage to free him, then he could be recruited as a companion. Vault 88, located in Quincy, Massachusetts, was intended as a testing ground for experimental productivity-boosting technology.
Is that the vault where the super mutants are coming from in Fallout 3? Because I remember, like, they're trying to figure out, the Brother Steel's trying to figure out where the super mutants are coming from. I remember something like, even if you tell them the Brotherhood will do nothing. I remember something like that.
For other vaults, but was left unfinished, and when the bombs dropped, it turned the Overseer into a ghoul. In 2287, she is saved from raiders attempting to break into the vault by your player character in Fallout 4. Upon speaking with her, she tasks you with helping her rebuild the vault, making it a potential settlement for the player character to enjoy. Vault 92, located in Olney, Maryland in the Capital Wasteland, was led by Overseer Richard Rubin and promised to preserve the musically talented of the US population. However, the Vault's true purpose was to conduct a medical experiment using white noise to implant combat suggestions within the minds of the residents. Despite initial success, the residents began exhibiting psychotic behavior, leading to multiple deaths. To make things worse, the vault structure was decaying, as water began leaking into the vault, causing flooding. As the insanity spread, one of the Vault-Tec employees, Professor Malius, pleaded with Rubin to end the experiment, to which the Overseer refused. It is implied in an audio log that Malius then planned on making the Overseer pay for his crimes, but no follow-up is provided. As the vault fell into further chaos, eventually it succumbed to flooding, allowing Mirelurks to infest the area, presumably finishing off any remaining survivors, and turning Vault 92 into their new habitat. Vault 94, located in northeastern West Virginia, was advertised as a place where residents were tasked with preserving the natural environment surrounding the vault.
And the other ones
Its
in
true experiment was to test how a non-violent religious community would adapt to interacting with the outside world after the Great War. The community was run by a woman named Gabrielle Salvar, and she made it so that the vault's decisions were made by a council rather than one overseer. The
Oh,
experiment would
interesting.
be overseen by a sole Vault Tech employee named Tyrone Hayes, who was instructed to monitor the population as time went on. When the bombs fell, the community was driven to the vault by two separate buses. The first bus was able to get their passengers inside, however the second bus was too late and their members
Oh,
were locked outside the vault as the door was hardwired shut. After the vault door was sealed, the vault remained peaceful until Salvar convinced the community to open their doors back up on October 23, 2078, exactly 1 year after the Great War. The community
what?
would send multiple ambassadors into the wasteland until one would come across the town of Harper's Ferry. The ambassador would attempt to bring survivors back to his home by telling them that they had a farm outside of the vault that could feed the entire town. The mayor, a woman named Maria Collins, suspicious of the dwellers' claims, would send a group of townsfolk to investigate the vault. The group would be invited inside the vault, where they began to feel on edge about the community's inviting nature. They would eventually succumb to their paranoia and would massacre the vault council as well as any remaining survivors from the community. After their massacre concluded, they would find the vault's GEC. Mistaking it for a mind control device, they began to open fire on it. This resulted in a level 6 nuclear explosion which would cause the radiation in the area to surge. This led to the
Idiot.
organisms within the affected area to mutate, as well as a thick fog to pour from the vault's entrance, which would rapidly intensify the area's swampy environment. This event would then transform the surrounding area into what we now know as the Mire. Vault
Wait, so that's
95,
how the Maya
located
was
southeast
created.
of Natick,
Because of
Massachusetts,
idiots.
was an experiment which
God
had chem addicts
by the
undergoing
gods.
experimental rehabilitation for their addictions. After the bombs dropped, the
Oh, this
program would
vault's
go on
messed
for
up. I
several
remember it.
years
Like,
and would prove successful.
this vault, I do actually know about. What was that? Yeah. Basically, they got a load of addicts, they got a load of drug addicts, shoved them in here, got them clean off drugs for ages. But then one of the doctors starts offering drugs, and then they find out there's a secret stash. And then they all try to murder each other for the stash of drugs.
In getting the dwellers to kick their addictions. This was until a Vault-Tec agent masquerading as a fellow resident opened a stash of drugs hidden
Yeah.
within the vault while the population slept. The next morning, when the supply was discovered by the residents, chaos ensued, leading to violence among the dwellers, as well as some to succumb to their urges, while others maintained their commitment to sobriety. It is
Boy, we
not
gotta
known
get
what
that
happened to the
psycho.
residents following this instance, as by the year 2287, the vault was completely occupied by gunners, who repurposed the vault into a stronghold for them to operate out of. Vault 96, located south of Spruce Knob Campground, West Virginia, was advertised as a vault designed to monitor the damage done to the local fauna after the bombs dropped. However, once it was sealed, the scientists within were shocked to discover that the vault's true purpose was to conduct unethical experiments on mutated animals cryogenically frozen inside the vault in order to find a way to counteract their mutations. They were forced to maintain a weekly quota of data by the vault's mainframe that, if not met, would result in their demise. The vault's planned duration was set for a minimum of 250 weeks, after which the residents would be exterminated, apart from the overseer, who would be
What?
permitted to leave. The scientists would conduct these experiments on their diverse supply of cryogenically frozen animals, including a mysterious entity known as X001. By week 146,
Whoa.
one of the scientists failed to meet their quota due to a lack of access to specimen X001, leading to her demise at the hands of the mainframe. Blaming the overseer, a man named Eric, the team confronted him, only to discover that he was orchestrating an escape plan which involved infecting the mainframe with a virus in order for them to flee. Although the plan initially succeeded, the mainframe activated superseding Protocol Omega, causing the residents' deaths. Despite this, the
What?
virus successfully shut down the mainframe, leaving the vault open, prompting animals to escape and triggering the emergency management system to call for assistance. In the year
What?
2104,
What would that
the
do?
vault was taken over by a scientist named Edgar Blackburn, who used its research equipment to attempt to create an improved strand of FEV in order to help humanity adapt to the wasteland. He would do this by hiring a group of mercenaries known as the Hellcat
Oh
Company in
no.
order to guard Vault 96 and abduct unsuspecting dwellers for him to experiment on. Vault 101,
Bro
located west
became a
of
stupider
Springfield,
version of the
Virginia,
master.
held a social experiment which studied the role of the overseer in a vault that was never intended to open. After the Great War, the residents remained isolated as the overseer fabricated an illusion of the outside world being uninhabitable, fostering the belief that survival solely existed within the vault.
Oh, this is
Continued
the
for
one you're
years
in.
until one
In
overseer elected
Fallout
to
3,
break
where
the
you start
cycle
off
of
at.
isolationism
Well,
and sent an expedition team out into the wasteland. When they returned, they would analyze samples taken from the wasteland that the team collected. This would lead to two team members, Lewis and Agnes Taylor, to be sent to Megaton for further exploration and contact between the two settlements. Eventually, Agnes would return to Vault 101 around 2258, and the Overseer would vanish after a failed expedition into the capital wasteland. Eventually, a new Overseer named Alphonse Almodovar would seek to return to the ways of isolationism and seal the vault once more. Until one day, a man named James came to the vault seeking shelter, offering his services as a doctor in exchange for the safety of him and his infant child. The Overseer would let them in, and James would keep his child in the dark about their origins in the wasteland because of his agreement with Alphonse, convincing your player character that they were born in the vault. The Overseer would continue his regime of isolationism with only one woman managing to escape the vault. Eventually, in 2277, a rat roach infestation sparked chaos in Vault 101, enabling James to escape.
Wait a minute.
This caused...
The Lone Wanderer has never been confirmed as a man or woman, so that doesn't make sense. So, it's the same with a lot of them. None of them have been officially confirmed if they're a man or a woman. The only one I think that was confirmed was not even the original, because it was just the grandchild of the grandson of that. So was the chosen one specified? I actually can't remember, but as far as I know, the reason nothing is pinpoint is each fallen protagonist could be male or female. Like, there is none that are confirmed. I know of.
Leading to several deaths. After the Overseer orders the killing of multiple people, including the Lone Wanderer, you escape into the wasteland, fleeing from the Overseer's wrath. While your player character leaves to find your father, the Vault 101 Overseer increases security measures, causing division among the dwellers who realize the possibility of a life on the outside. As tensions rose, Amada, the Overseer's daughter, would send out a broadcast frequency seeking the return of the player to help resolve the situation, leaving the fate of Vault 101 in the hands of the Lone Wanderer. Vault 106, located southeast of Arefu, conducted an experiment in which the air filtration system was contaminated with psychoactive drugs 10 days after the vault door closed. This experiment was known by the Overseer and the vault staff, and they were each instructed to keep this a secret from the dwellers. As time went on, the effects of the drugs began to take their toll on the dwellers, as they began to show more and more signs of aggressive behavior, prompting the Overseer to order a lockdown. However, the deranged residents eventually overwhelmed Vault security and brutally murdered them as well as the Overseer.
Oh, yeah, let's do all these experiments on people.
Find the vault inhabited by insane survivors who have all descended into madness.
Not even 10% of them gave good results. All of them, practically all of them went down the drain.
Such as Amada, the Tunnel Snakes, and your father. Vault 108, located north of Washington, D.C., had an abundance of problems. The vault was designed to house 475 people for only 38 years, the power supply was set to fail after 20 years, and the Overseer was set to die after only 3 years due to a rare type of cancer. The experiment also deliberately left standard positions vacant, as well as providing the residents with no entertainment tapes. Basically, this vault sucked ass. However, in addition to these failures, the vault came equipped with a cloning lab. After the vault sealed,
this is the Gary vault,
which produced 53 clones of a man named Gary. Each cloned iteration of Gary exhibited hostility towards non-clones, escalating with each replication. Subsequent clones became increasingly violent, leading to them eventually purging the vault of its residents. By 2276,
Gary's by 10 Garys, it's like, we don't like you, we like to stick with our own. By 20 Garys, it's, hey, hello, get away from us, I don't want you here, go away. 30 Garys, you have a problem here, huh? 40 Garys, hey, beat the shit out of him. Beat the shit out of him, he's not a clone. By 50 Garys, murder every non-Gary.
The vault is solely inhabited by clones who are only capable of saying one word. Gary. Vault 111, located in Sanctuary Hills, Massachusetts, was designed as a medical experiment studying the long-term effects of cryogenic stasis on its unsuspecting residents. Once the vault was sealed, its residents would be told to enter cryostasis pods that were masqueraded as decontamination chambers. Once the residents were frozen, the vault was said to remain sealed for at least 180 days. After 180 days passed, there was no all-clear signal, resulting in the Overseer's decision to maintain the vault's sealed status despite dwindling supplies. Following this, a group led by security and support staff rebelled against the Overseer, and in response, the Overseer initiated a lockdown. Unfortunately, the logs abruptly end at this point, and we can presume based on the skeletons scattered throughout the vault that the staff would soon perish after these events. In 2227, the mysterious organization known as the Institute discovered the vault and found that one of the cryostasis pods inside housed an infant named Sean whose DNA remained untainted by post-war radiation, perfect for their third-generation synths. Agent Conrad Kellogg and 2 scientists were dispatched to retrieve the infant. However, when they opened the pods to retrieve Sean, one of his
Should have
parents
seen that
resisted
comment.
in their
Load
efforts, which
attacks.
led to their tragic murder at the hands of
Damn
Kellogg.
it.
After 60 years, Sean's other parent, who had witnessed the kidnapping, would be mysteriously released from cryostasis, discovering all the other vault residents deceased due to a life support failure, making them and Sean the sole survivors of Vault 111. Vault 112, located southwest of Washington, D.C., was designed to house 85 people. The vault's unique experiment involved immersing occupants in perpetual virtual reality, overseen by Dr. Stanislaus Braun, creator of the
Oh,
Garden
yeah,
of
I think
Eden
I've seen one or
creation
two
kit. The
sorts
vault
of this.
housed a set of virtual reality pods which simulated a utopic suburb known as Tranquility Lane. Unbeknownst to its occupants, once they entered the virtual reality pods, Braun held absolute control over the simulation. Inside the simulation, Braun would take on the form of a little girl named Betty, and he would use his power to turn the vault's residents into his personal playthings, repeatedly murdering them inside the simulation. Each time Braun murdered them, he would wipe their memory and resurrect them within the program, creating a cycle of torture that would go on for centuries. Vault 114, located inside Park
Man,
Street
it's
Station in
twisted.
Boston, Massachusetts, was a social experiment that was advertised as a luxury vault for wealthy members of
Yeah, there's
society.
only a few votes
However,
left.
in reality, the
Man,
vault
I'm
was
tired.
designed to be cramped and overpopulated, in addition to being under the leadership of an overseer with an abundance of
Ooh,
mental issues.
speech
The vault
bubble.
was nearing completion, with construction underway and a man named Soup Can Harry being selected as overseer. However, the vault was never finished, potentially due to contract fraud and embezzlement. Eventually, after the bombs fell, its
They got
construction site was repurposed as a base of operation for Skinny Malone's gang of triggermen. Vault 118, hidden beneath the Cliffs Edge Hotel in Mount Desert Island, Maine, was designed as an exclusive establishment aiming to attract wealthy and influential individuals seeking privilege and luxury. The vault's original experiment would involve segregating residents into 2 groups, an elite class of 10 ultra-rich individuals pampered by robotic staff, and a larger working-class populace of 300 confined to cramped conditions. The rich would hold authority over the others, with robotic staff executing their judgments. However, construction on the second wing intended for the working-class group ceased due to financial issues. The primary financier, Ezra Parker, stopped funding, citing payment difficulties from the guests. In addition to him, the vault was set to host influential figures such as former Hollywood actors Keith McKinley and Gilda Brosco, a famous painter named Santiago Avida, as well as Dr. Riggs and his wife Juliana. Dr. Riggs in particular was involved in robotics research, and he was able to convince his fellow residents to consider having their brains inserted into robo-brains so that they could become immortal. They all agreed and went through with the procedure.
I don't
And when the
agree
Great
with
War
that,
came
man.
and the vault was sealed, the Overseer became the only remaining human amidst the robo-brain residents. Centuries passed, and one day, Ezra Parker, the primary financier of Vault 118, was murdered, leading the residents to seek help from the player character in investigating who did it.
This
In
quest
Fallout
is so
76,
stupid.
a raider named
I
Bruiser
actually
claims
remember
that he
doing
grew
that
up in
quest
a
in
food
Fallout 4. It
cellar
was
on
so
the East
stupid.
Coast. He claims that he participated in a warlike gladiator sport inside the vault, which based on his description sounds strikingly similar to American football. At some point during his stay in the vault, he left and eventually ended up in Appalachia, West Virginia. Nothing else is known about this vault, as Bruiser doesn't give us a number that we can assign to it, but hopefully it will be explored by the Fallout franchise in an
I think it may be
expansion
Skyline
or
Valley.
in
I
a
think we're
future
getting a
Fallout
few new
title.
vaults, but
Alright
I'm not
guys,
too
that was
sure.
every vault in the Fallout canon. Before I sign off, I'd like to share some exciting news.
Alright.
In Fallout 7,
But, yeah, that's been every vault so far in Fallout reacted to. So, this is very interesting. I'm sorry for the way I am right now. I don't know what's wrong. I just feel absolutely drained. Uh, but yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And tune into the live stream now at 3 o'clock. So I'll see you there. And remember, the dark side is with you always.